Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chelsea and I, as you can probably tell, love books and talking about books. So I thought in today's video we could do my 26 books I want to read in 2026. I did this for 2025 and I think I read like 10. I think I read like 10 out of the 25 maybe. I should have got my reading journal. Oh, my reading journal's there. Just wait. Don't go anywhere. Now we're going to find out that I'm basically just a big liar. I read 19 of them. That is so good. And I DNF'd one of them. Wait, no. Oh, no, I read that this year. No, I read 20. Because I read Nocticadia last year as well, and I DNF one, so technically 21 out of the 25. So 21 out of the 25 I tried. But for any of my like neurodivergent girlies, I feel like this will be very relatable. Okay, so this is last year's, starting off so strong, like with a title page, and then I had my series tracker. And then this was supposed to be my overview of my year in books. I think I only tracked like January and February. That was alright. That one was quite good. This was my book bingo and my alphabet challenge. Not touched. This was my book of the year. I went to March. Again, didn't touch it. Books bought in 2025. Apparently, I only bought one. That is a lie. Didn't finish this. Like, literally, this was quite good. I did a reading log up until April, and then I stopped. A January spread, and then this was my TBR. And then I started trying to do a collage for this book club, but it was really hard. And then I didn't do my Jan faves. And then this was books I read in January, maybe. And then I did a February spread. I didn't do a wrap up, and I didn't do anything. And then March, I then changed this to a thoughts journal where I just wrote down all my thoughts. So, yes. So in January, I made the list on my phone. I just typed it out in my notes. But I could not tell you now a single book that is on that list. I feel like I made it in a semi-state of rush, because for some reason in my brain I was like, I can't go into the new year not having my 26 books. Not having them like mapped out. So we're going to go into my notes and we're going to find out what I put on there and we'll talk about them. Okay, all right. So it looks like a mix of things that are on my physical TBR and my immediate like either buy it physically or read it on Kindle TBR. And then some books from the past I haven't got to, and a lot of books that I heard about last year, and then a couple of new releases. So first up we have, and I think I might have to, no, I won't have to adjust this because I read them this year. So number one, we have City of Gods and Monsters, which is like the House of Devils series. I read that in January and I won't be continuing the series. I just didn't. It just wasn't for me. But that's already one ticked off. Then we have the Red Scrolls of Magic, which is the continuation of the Shadowhunters world. So that's on there. I'm excited to get to that one actually. I think that could be a read that I do in February. Then we have The Four Winds by Chris and Hannah, which I've already read, and I rated it like a 4.75 star, 4.5 star. That was such a good book. I'm flying through this already. And then number 4, The Poppy War. I finished that. I think I rated it a 3.75, but I'm unsure whether I want to continue the series or not, so let me know. It's only a trilogy, but I just don't know if I'm as invested in it as other people, and I'm not itching, but let me know if that's a wrong opinion. Then we have Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard. That is a book that was purchased in 2025 and is on my physical TBR going into 2026, so I would like to knock that one off. Then we have From Blood and Ash by, is that Jennifer L. Armentrout, maybe? That is a series I want to buddy read with Emily this year at some point. We were going to read it at the end of last year at one point, but if my reading becomes, and there's a very, very fine line where I need structure, so I need like these lists and things to refer to, but also if it becomes too structured, my brain is just like, no. So I have to toe the line of having it structured so that I'm not just like, I don't know what to read, but also it not being like, this is what you're reading next 100%, in case my brain is like, well, I don't want to do that. Then we have Metal Slinger. Saw a lot about this online, and then one of my friends offline read it and she wants a debrief. So I do need to read that pretty soon so that we can talk about that book. We have Notes on Your Sudden Disappearance by Alison Espach, the author of The Wedding People, which I read last year and I absolutely loved it. I don't always, I'm not always in the mood for like a lit fic or a historical fiction or something that's like not romance and fantasy, but I know that lit fic and historical fiction both have such a good track record with me. I think the emotional side of those reads is what really, if you can invoke those kinds of feelings out of me, you're normally always going to get a very high 4 or a 5-star rating out of me. So that's something that I'm trying to keep mindful of this year, is to sort of like pick up and reach for more, at least like one, I keep talking with my hands, but at least like one book a month, have it be historical fiction or lit fic or just something a little bit different, because I know that I'm going to enjoy it, but it's not one, I'm not constantly thinking I need to read one, you know? Then we have Manacled. I still have the fanfic version of Alchemized on my Kindle, and I really, really want to read Manacled and then read Alchemized and get like the full reading experience. But every time I see the size of Alchemized and I think about trying to do that twice, my brain is just like, but I've put it on my list for this year, just because I want to know. And I've heard it's quite emotional. And as I just said, I love an emotional read. Then, oh my God. And then we have Diabound, which I also read this year. And I absolutely loved it. Literally devoured it. I am slaying with this list already. This was another thing. Last year I put books on there that, like, in my head, I was like, oh, this will impress other people when I've said that I've read it. And then I was like, no, because who cares? I don't care. I'm reading for fun. So this year, a lot of them are books that I was like going to read anyway. But it helps my brain to be ticking it off and being like, woo! Yeah, anyway. Then we have The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. Last year I read The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. Hit me in the heart. Well, that was right on the mic. I'm so sorry, but hit me right in the heart. Obsessed. So I want to read the other one. Then we have The 7 Year Slip, and I can't remember now who the author was for this one, but I've forever just heard so many good things about it, and I feel like it was one of the original books that was being talked about when I started being more involved in like book talk and consuming that sort of media. Then we have The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, because I'm up to date with all of like her new stuff from A Part of Your World onwards. And Em and Bex read like her earlier works last year and they really enjoyed them. So I was like, I know I love Abby Jimenez's writing, so it's like, why haven't I read it yet? Then we have Willing Prey by Ali someone. I cannot remember. I'm probably going to put pictures up of the books here. I've already read this as well. I read it on my Kindle in January. That was so good. You know, if you just need like a small, light-hearted smutty dark romance. That one. I read it in one sitting. Like, I literally devoured it. Then we have Riftborn. I can't remember the name of this author either, but it's like, is it Riftborn? Duskbound is like a duology, and then you have the Ascended, maybe. So I want to like get into that. Then we have The Wolf King. I think that's a trilogy, and the first 2 books are out. I've heard such good things about this, so that's on the list. Then we have The Night We Met, Abby Jimenez. That's out this year. So, I mean, it is kind of a little bit of a cop-out because I would have been reading it anyway, but... Then I have Our Perfect Storm. Is this Carly Fortune? Yeah. Our Perfect Storm by Carly Fortune. I'm going on, like, a hot, sunny holiday, literally in a week. So I wanted a couple of, like, summery romance books because I read One Golden Summer and... Is it like Every Summer After, those 2 books that are connected, when I was on holiday last year, and I absolutely loved them. I just love her writing. I feel like she's very good at very stereotypical romance, but putting a good emotional spin on what she's writing about. And then we have And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. That is the second book in the... What is that series called? Is it here? So I've got First Time Caller. I don't know what the series is called, but it's the second book in the, like, First Time Caller universe. Is it like the On Air? I don't know. And then we have The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, because I read One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, the Shepherd Knight duology, Dark Shepherd duology. I read that last year and I loved it, ate it up. Then we have Fairytale. I should have put the authors because my memory is awful. But I saw Laura on BookTube talking about this book. I think it was in like one of her reading vlogs, and I was like, oh yeah. Yep, sign me up. Then we have Guild and like the Guild series. This one, is it like Raven Kennedy, maybe? This one I've seen such conflicting things. Some people are like, do not even bother, and then some people are like, it is the best thing that you'll ever read. And sometimes with books and series like that, I like to see which side I'm going to fall on. The only problem is I think people say you have to read a bit of like, it's like to me it's like the ACOTAR effect, where I've seen people be like, at least read and finish the second book before you decide. So that one to me is a bit of a commitment, because if I'm reading the first book and I'm not enjoying it, it's harder then to read the second one. But I thought I'd put it on the list to just see where I fall on like that spectrum. And then we have A Tongue So Sweet and Deadly, which I think is another trilogy. I'm sure it's on Kindle Unlimited. My same friend that read Metal Slinger read these books and she recommended them. So I want to read them as well. Is it like Sophia St. Germain? Something like that. And then my 25th book is Throne of Power by Rena Kent. So that is, I've found a reading order. I found a reading order for the Rena Kent-verse, whatever you want to call it. So I'm going to start with Throne of Power, which I think it's like a duet. Throne duet, yeah. And then 26 is Wuthering Heights, which I'm 85% into that book. So of the 26 and 26, I've already read City of Gods and Monsters, The Four Winds, The Poppy War, Direbound, Willing Prey, and Wuthering Heights. So I've already read 6 out of the 26, but I have just realised that I missed one going in my list. So we also have Air by Sabaa Tahir. Oh, I read the An Ember in the Ashes quartet by Sabaa Tahir last year. Loved them, really, really enjoyed them. Loved her writing style. I loved her characters. I just loved all of it. I loved all of the moving pieces. So I added Air because I think that is like a sequel about the world however many years later, and seeing like the changes or like what's going on in that world since everything that happened in that original quartet, I think. Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure that that's what I saw. So I've already read 6 of the 26 and we're only in February. So I feel like that is pretty good going. This year I really, really, really want to read all 26. Like I just think that would be a really cool thing to do. I've actually recently become very anal about my TBRs. So if you go onto Fable, I don't know if you can see this. Let me come closer. So what I've done is in my lists, I've done like my custom lists. So we have a romance TBR, a romantasy TBR, dark academia, sports romance, and then we also have priority fantasy, my physical TBR, my dark romance, my lit fic, my fantasy, so more leaning on the fantasy side than the romantasy side, and then sci-fi, and then like mythical, you know, like your sort of like a Song of Achilles, is that what that's called? The Song of Achilles, you know, like that sort of vibe. So I've sorted it into all of those categories. And it's actually not too bad. Like my romance TBR, there's 17 books. What I don't include is, if it's a series, I only include the first book in the series. So my romance TBR is 17, my romantasy TBR is 42, my dark academia is 7, my sports romance is 3, but I'm sure that is more. I just don't think about sports romances until I'm like, oh, this is what I want. My priority fantasy, there's 8 of them, but one of them I've already read, so I haven't gone in and like taken some of these books off. I've got 8 in my dark romance, I've got 15 in my lit fic, 14 in my fantasy, 2 in my sci-fi, and 1 in like my mythical fantasy. So I've kept it really organised and structured so that I can be like, this is the mood that I'm in. Let me go and have a look at what I've already decided that I'm interested in, instead of being like, oh, I'm in the mood for this, let me go and hunt, and then add in like 10 books and essentially not reading anything. So yeah, they are my 26 books that I would like to read in 2026. If you've made it to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Let me know in the comments what some of your priority reads are going in to 2026. Let me know if you've read any of the books that are on my list and if I should bump them up higher. I'm very much motivated by people being like, this book is amazing, you need to read it. But yeah, that is the end of the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in my next video. Thanks, guys.